The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the first Tech Tip Tuesday. We have Howard Young here, who's the sales architect at Zadara Storage, and he's going to be going into some detail on how to run some different third-party apps on the Zadara VPSA today. Howard, you want to go ahead and take it away?
Yes, thank you, Christy. My name is Howard Young, and as Christy said, I'm the sales architect for Zadara Storage. And today we're going to look at OwnCloud. And if you're not familiar with OwnCloud, basically it's a Docker application that you can run, and it's file sharing, sort of like Dropbox. And what we'll do is we'll get this thing up and running in VPSA under ZCS, or our version of Docker. So the goal here is basically twofold. One is we're going to hook up our AWS VPC here, and if I can go back a slide here, we're going to hook up the AWS VPC to a share here, OwnCloud on the VPSA, and then on the Docker container, what we're going to do is we're going to install OwnCloud right out of the public network and have it connected up between the two file shares and then serve it out to AWS. And ultimately what we want to do, for a proper application is integrate this folder with backup to S3, either using our Zios, which is coming out next month, and as a GA option to your VPSA, or to back up to S3, which is AWS S3 product. Eventually, you can also make this public using an Nginx proxy, which we'll talk to the OwnCloud. We probably won't have time to go over this, but it's quite simple just to have a proxy, so that with the OwnCloud itself, you can do any type of mobile application or from your desktop. So you can have a fully integrated cloud solution that's fully dedicated for your own company use. So you don't have to put files into Dropbox and they're sort of commingled and so on and so forth.
And Howard, let me just chime in. If there's anything that you cover that the audience wants to know more about, we'll provide all of Howard's details at the end. So feel free to ask questions, or you'll be able to get in touch with Howard to get more specific questions answered at the end.
So on here, if you haven't used the Docker capability in here, you need to first enable it through your settings files, and then system settings are already pre-configured it, but under the container services here, you would just need to have an image repository. And right now I have it connected to my SAS pool. SAS provides very good response for Docker. And so if you try to do this on SATA, you may get different performance levels, but I try to do everything on SAS for these. And you just need 2 drives in this case. And once you enable it, all your images are going to be stored into that particular pool itself. It takes up 100 gig to support that. So first thing we need to do is create an image. I already have 2 images already loaded out of our public repository, and here what I'll do is create another one. And so it's quite simple. It's all integrated with Docker itself. We can pull it from the Docker repository, or we can pull it from a VPSA share. So if for example, if you're doing your own application, you don't want to put the source code and image into the public repository, you can do it that way. You just load directly from your VPSA. But what we're going to do is we're going to pull it out, OwnCloud, out of the public repository, and then we just do a search here. And we'll pick the first one. Now the official one would say true or false depending on what it is. So the true one means it's actually placed into the repository by the developer, OwnCloud. Some of these other ones that say false, they're developed by other other companies or other developers, then they have their own twist on it. So, for example, this one here is a PHP 7. So it may or may not be supported. You may not want it. So if you're going to pull something out, you probably want to pull out the official version. And then what we need to do is pull out version 9. And we're going to load the Apache version and do a create. And what's happening here? It's gonna pull out the image from the repository. It'll take a while to download it and to copy it into the VPSA. So in the meantime, while it's doing that, we're going to need some storage for that particular cloud or for that particular OwnCloud. And what we're going to do here is create a persistent share. And we'll give it a terabyte of volume. And then, again, we'll put it on the SAS. And we don't need to do anything with the sys or SMB or NFS options. So we just create the share. And then our share is available here. So if we go back to the images, it's probably done, or in fact, it is done here. What we need to do now is go ahead and create a container for that. Now, the difference between an image and container, the image is just the executable, and the container provides all the hooks in for the compute and everything else. So the instructions for this are on our GitHub repository, and then I'll just fill in here. We'll give it a name called OwnCloud, and we'll use the OwnCloud image. We need to add a couple of ports here to talk to it, and then this is going to be, we're going to need port 80, and we'll add that. And let's map a volume in here, and then we'll use this OwnCloud volume, and we'll map it to the var www HTML, and that's where the data is going to be stored for OwnCloud. We don't need to do anything with variables, but we need to provide it an argument. And we're going to run this as Apache. And we need a creation point. And point-l. And let's start it up. So basically what we did is we're going to create a new container called OwnCloud. It's going to use the OwnCloud image, and we're going to map the data to this particular path, and that's where the application stores the data, Apache and entry point. And if I did everything correctly, it should basically come up here and create the container. So there's one final step we need to do, and that is to make it work with the local VPC environment. So if we go back to the containers here, this guy is running the mapping from port 80, which is the HTTP port. It got mapped to 92.16, and so whenever we access that particular port, 92.16, it's just going to map to the internal HTTP Apache server. But we're going to have to modify it for it to work properly. And this is just a simple change that we just put in the config file. So on this volume, we're going to need to go back and map it to a server. And then on here, I'll have an export path called OwnCloud. And let's bring up a shell here. And if we go to the mount OwnCloud, you can see it's already installing onto the map share. Now it hasn't done anything yet because I haven't even logged into it. So if I log into it through a local host here, and if everything's up and running, it should come up and you should see our OwnCloud. So this is the initial stage where you come in and configure the OwnCloud, and this is running right in the container. So what I'll do is just give it an admin. And of course, this is not a secure password. Make sure I got it right here. And what we'll do is this is the mapping here, which we map directly into that mount point, and we'll use SQLite, and then we'll finish the setup. And then it produces this config.php. When you access this OwnCloud directly from your VPSA network, what it'll do, it will add another entry in here with your actual VPSA URL, and then it'll append the port number on here, which is going to be the 9216, and with that, it will go ahead and use that as the mapping port. For OwnCloud to work properly, you have to remove the port number, and you just edit this file here and remove the port number, and everything will work fine on that. But we'll just continue doing this through the local host here, and just for the final configuration. And on here, what happens is when you get the first pop-up here after you do install, it tells you how to connect to your desktop. You can do it through Android or the iPhone, iPad, through the Apple App Store or Google Play. And when you do this, it gives you like a sync file folder, where when you drop things into your local laptop, for example, they get uploaded automatically into the OwnCloud. Of course, you're going to have to create accounts. This is just the admin account. It pre-populates it with some documents, and then some photos. So if you want to share some photos, or if you take some photos on your phone, you can upload those directly, and then it makes it very convenient just for sharing data from your mobile device into the cloud and back to your desktop. And it's a very rapid application. Runs really fast. And the reason why is because the application is running right on the two SAS drives that we provided, or that's mapped to the volume itself. And the thing is, with the fast access to the data, your application will run faster, and all the latency is going to be basically between here and here, and that's if you wanted to run this across like a file share, the response would be lower. So this is a very quick way to do it.
So it sounds like great, convenient, high performance option, but some of the questions coming in are some security concerns. Howard, could you touch upon the security of this application a little bit?
Well, absolutely. So in the VPSA, if I go back a couple slides here, this is all private. This is all private network connected to Amazon. So anything you run in here is going to be private. And if this cloud here happens to be on site, this connectivity is also going to be secured and on site on here. One thing you need to worry about is that if you open up a public port, you need to put in make sure it's very secure here. Of course, you saw one mistake I did an admin. You don't want to do that. I just did it for convenience. You have a very secure password. Here, also in the public, you want to run with HTTPS, which is a secure socket layer. So it's all encrypted. So there's nothing that would go. No one can snoop on your data in between, the mobile device, and also the cloud itself. But everything else within the AWS VPC and the virtual private storage array is completely isolated, and then you only have to worry about this interface to make sure that's secured and locked down.
Great.
Were there any other questions, Christy?
That was all the other questions we had. It was just the security concerns, so thanks for touching on that. Do you want to just pull up the screen with your contact information so we can let everyone know if they have follow-up questions, or maybe specific questions about the instances that you're running? You guys can reach Howard at howard@zadarastorage.com. He's on Twitter at HowardY. And then two other resources you can use. Howard talked about the GitHub, where we go through the Docker files, and you can learn how to do all this back there. And we also recently published, Howard wrote a blog about this particular demo we saw here today. So there's step-by-step instructions on our blog. The direct link is right there for you. So if you have any questions, please follow up. If not, we'll see you next Tuesday.
Yeah, next Tuesday, what we're going to talk about is more on networking. We're going to look at subnets and how you can organize your data and your clients within a single VPSA, and also in AWS VPCs. So we're looking forward to giving you that information next week.
Sounds great, Howard. We'll see everyone next week.